Here we go!
Why are you so fixated on me?
Because you're my friend.
Just give up and let me cut you down already!
What? Universal pool! Oh, bro, this looks so cool, man. I'm Kirinia, the lightning dragon. Okay, Indra's arrow. Bro, he's gonna kill him. Jesus! Ooh, bro. They're both gonna die. Yeah, they're both gonna die, aren't they? Is it a cliffhanger? Hello guys, welcome back to my reaction channel. Today we're going to be doing something different. Today I'm going to be reacting to a Swagkage video named The Worst Fight in Naruto. Now this is an interesting title, okay? I actually think this is subjective because some fights, like not all of us like all the fights. Like we don't like the same fights, right? Some of us like a certain fight like intellectual battle like Deidara versus Sasuke. Some of us like just Night Guy, right? It's subjective, so whatever he has to say here is also probably gonna be subjective, right? But according to the thumbnail, I think he might be referring to the Neji versus Naruto OG battle in the chunin exams. I might be wrong, but that's what the thumbnail implies, so I'm just gonna jump straight into this and see. If it is that battle, that's gonna be interesting because I don't consider that to be a bad battle by no means, but I guess he's gonna have arguments to his opinion. So guys, listen, I ain't gonna prolong this that much. If you enjoy my reactions, feel free to share, subscribe, like, leave a comment, ring the bell for notifications, guys. Follow me on Instagram, join my Discord server, and my Patreon page. Without further ado, man, let's jump right into this reaction. Oh, let's go. Okay, looks like it is that battle.
So I think it goes without saying that I really like Naruto, and one of my favorite arcs in the series is the chunin exams. Now this isn't like unique or anything, this seems to be fairly common, and even people who don't really care for Naruto that much seem to agree that the chunin exams at least is pretty...
Facts, bro, that's when the show picked up. Yo, I mean, listen, the Zabuza arc, it was amazing. It kind of introduced us to the world building and to some extreme situations that a ninja might confront in his life, right? Like, yo, that was a lot of blood and just the concept. It was a dope concept. The Zabuza arc was a dope concept, right? It kind of introduced us to what Naruto has to look forward to. But then the chunin exams, like, brought us Gaara and Neji and just that danger, Orochimaru, bro. That reveal was just like the face ripping off the scroll, right? Gagging on. I'm just gonna continue. But yeah, that freaking arc was something else, right? So. The title is The Worst Fight in Naruto. So does he mean only Naruto, only OG Naruto? He doesn't like... He's not counting Shippuden. Okay, so this is just Naruto. Let's go.
Now that said, there's a fight in this arc that I've always had some problems with. And while it may not actually be the worst fight in the whole series if we're comparing it to every other fight there is, like even including the minor stuff, I do think that there's a fair case to be made for this fight being the worst when we're considering how important it's supposed to be. The fight I'm talking about is Naruto versus Neji. So probably the most important moment in Neji's character arc and one of the most important moments in Naruto's character arc. One of the many themes juggled by the chunin exam portion of the story is individual growth. And this fight is supposed to serve as an opportunity for Naruto to show off how much he's improved since he graduated from the academy.
I mean, that's true, but around that fight, it was based around destiny, right? That was the main focus and theme. But I guess the build-up of Naruto training and his opponent being Neji, him making a promise to Hinata that he's gonna defeat Neji, that build-up was to kind of showcase the individual growth of Naruto and Neji being a prodigy and everybody being on his side, right? So yeah, I guess he has a point there.
Acts as an extension of this theme in more ways than one. It isn't just focused on how much stronger Naruto's gotten, but also on how much Naruto has grown as a person. There's a bit of irony at the core of all this, because even though Neji is supposed to be really strong, like the strongest genin there is, we've seen Naruto go through a bunch of personal growth over the course of the Land of Waves arc and the first chunk of the chunin exams. But based on the way Neji speaks here, We're given the impression that as a person, he's remained stagnant. He hasn't gone through any kind of character growth of his own because his worldview has prevented him from doing so. So it's not just up to Naruto to prove that he's the better fighter here, he's also got to prove that he has the superior ideology. The issue at hand, the topic that Naruto and Neji are debating about, is destiny and one's place in the world. Neji firmly believes that people can't change and that they are destined from birth to do
but true, like he has a fair point here, but this fight was a character development fight for Neji. This was his pivotal moment here, right? Because he changed here. Naruto made him change. So yeah, he kind of, he didn't experience that growth in the time that Naruto did, because Naruto went through some messed up shiz, and Neji kind of, right, he was stagnant because he was still in his bubble, in his world, looking at Hinata sideways and just thinking that he is in the right, because nobody really challenged him ever, right? He beat the snot out of Hinata, proving his point, because she's the heir, she's supposed to be superior to him, but he beat the snot out of her, so he was kind of, like, everything was according to his theory that destiny this, destiny that. So it wasn't until Naruto smacked some sense into him that he was like, yo, right? Every time you get punched in the face, you leave room for that. Yo, I was kind of being a dick back there, right? So when you think about it, it wasn't until Naruto smacked some sense into him that he left room for that individual growth, because his past experiences, like him seeing his father being killed because of this and that, like that kind of made him be stuck in this bubble until Naruto broke that bubble with his fist by defying destiny in Neji's eyes. So that was the whole point of this battle, and now he's taking that as an argument to say it's the worst battle. No, I think this was actually one of the better looking battles, like maybe not fighting wise, but definitely ideology wise. Let's go.
They don't get to pick what that something is. It's preordained at the time of, or maybe a little bit before their birth. The main point is he believes in destiny and doesn't really agree with the idea that people have the ability to change their role in the universe or what it was that they were meant to do or meant to be. Naruto was born a failure, and that's just his destiny. He can't do anything to change that, and obviously this ideology can't coexist with Naruto's goal of becoming Hokage. If Neji's right about this, and Naruto's just destined to suck forever, then he can't do the thing that he's wanted to be able to for his entire...
But then we go deeper, because Neji doesn't know Naruto's backstory, and Naruto doesn't know Neji's backstory, right? Because we do, and we know, at this point, we didn't know, right? We found out later, but he is the son of the 4th Hokage. He has those Kage genes, so he wasn't destined to be a loser. He was actually destined to be one of the greats, right? If we look at it from that perspective. But Neji didn't know that, because all he saw was a loser, because, right, he was an Uzumaki, not Namikaze, because they were, like, doing that to protect him from other enemies that Minato might have had somewhere out there, right, that might come after Naruto if they knew that he left a child behind. So Neji didn't know that. Like, if Neji knew that, he wouldn't be, like, he wouldn't look at him as a loser, like, right? So, and Naruto didn't know of the dark shiz that Neji had to go through. He actually explained that in his battle with Naruto, and that's what made Naruto promise him that he's gonna change the way of the Hyuga clan once he defeated him. So that was the whole back and forth around this battle, which is kind of dope, right? That battle was really, like, it made you think.
Their life. And so, not just for Neji's sake, but for his own sake as well, he has to dismantle this. He has to figure out a way to argue against it and prove that somebody like him, who was once a failure, can, against all odds, become just as powerful as, if not even stronger than, a natural genius like Neji. Of course, the most effective way for Naruto to do this would just be to win the fight. So this is a fight where the ideological battle taking place is actually the same as the physical one taking place. Dismantling Neji's supposedly incorrect beliefs is just a natural part of the process of exhibiting the themes that have already been established in this arc. Now, this is all pretty good stuff. The foundation for the fight has been laid magnificently. It naturally juggles a whole lot of stuff at once. but in execution, it's not so great.
So what's the problem? Like, he just admitted everything is cool, so the build-up was cool, right? Okay, so he has the problem with an actual fight, the execution. Okay.
It doesn't handle much of this very well, and even if we strip the fight of all this secondary stuff and just look at it on the very surface level, it's not very entertaining either. Like, even if we critique it just for the quality of the spectacle and ignore all the thematic stuff, it still sucks. The main thing that irks me about this fight, and this has always bothered me, even when I first watched this fight as a dumb little kid, I didn't like this at all, is that the whole time Naruto's just getting thrashed.
True.
He's getting the shit knocked out of him, and then all of a sudden, he asks Kurama for some chakra, he gets it, and all it takes for him to beat Neji is one well-timed punch. Like, Neji does great. He performs perfectly throughout the whole fight, doesn't really make any mistakes, and then because he's caught off guard one time and gets hit one time, he loses the whole fight. Like, Naruto's punch hurts him so much that he can't even stand up. Naruto had his whole chakra network turned off, and he got back up before even asking Kurama for chakra. And do you mean to tell me that because Neji made the mistake of getting punched once by the main character, he's not allowed to get up after that, but Naruto can pull this little stunt?
I mean, he has a point there. Because I think what he's about to say is that Neji was supposed to be the strongest genin in that period, right? Okay, I get it. I get where he's coming from. But then again, there's plot, right? And also, Naruto was amplified by Kurama's chakra. And back then, we didn't know how powerful Kurama was. So that punch could have, like, knocked Neji out, or maybe, like, not out, but, right? Knocked him to an extent where he can't get back up. Also, we know that Neji was dealing some hefty damage to Naruto this entire fight. So that also put a strain on his body. He was using Byakugan, he was using this and that. And if I remember correctly, when Naruto unleashed his chakra points with Kurama chakra, he filled his entire body with Kurama chakra. That chakra was literally like slapping the terrain and everything around Neji. So maybe that chakra also kind of warned Neji out, because, yo, that's something you don't see every day. Everybody, even the Kage, were like, yo, even Orochimaru was like, yo, right? So I don't know, there was a lot, but I guess, yeah, it did seem like Neji was pummeling the kid, and then one punch later, he's on the ground, can't stand up. So I guess that is a bit flimsy.
Supposed to be paralyzed after the 64 palms, but he stood up after that. Like surely Neji should at least be able to move after this. Like, I don't even like Neji that much, and I think he absolutely deserved to win this fight. He was stronger than Naruto, faster than Naruto, and most importantly, smarter than Naruto.
Facts.
Like, I'm not the biggest fan of My Hero Academia, and don't particularly like its tournament arc. I think the chunin exams is much better, but that series handled this exact scenario.
Okay, I'm gonna skip over this because a lot of you want me to watch My Hero Academia, and I'm getting a feeling that this might be spoilery, okay? So I'm just gonna glance over this part.
It gives you the impression that Naruto is more willing to ask Kurama for help and is able to control the Nine-Tails chakra a little bit better than he used to be. But like at this point, that's not really his power. He and Kurama aren't friends. And every other time that Naruto has used Kurama's power to help him out in the fight, one of two things has happened. It's carried some pretty serious consequences, like for example, Naruto will slightly or even sometimes completely lose any semblance of who he is.
True.
Or in the case of the Kyuubi Chakra mode, he's only able to attain this power as a result of intense training and eventually as a result of befriending Kurama.
Yeah.
This isn't the case when he fights Gaara, to be fair. In that fight, he also gets his little poopy orange Cheeto puff dust Kyuubi Chakra.
Okay, he's just hating now. I mean, it was established throughout the series that he can do that. Like, the Neji fight was a catalyst for that. Like, right? But listen, that one punch that took out Neji can actually be interpreted as an ideology victory, right? Because Naruto proved his point by defying destiny or the chakra points that he blocked, and then thus landing that blow. Neji might have given up because he beat him utterly in ideology, and that was enough to make Neji be like, yo, why should I stand up after this, right? So it was kind of a victory, intellectual victory, or the brawn victory. Neji didn't really have what to fight for anymore because Naruto proved that he can define something that shouldn't be, something that he shouldn't be able to defy. So I think that's how I look at it.
But in that fight, he at least wins thanks to learning how to use a new jutsu, whereas here, he just wins for free. He doesn't change his approach to combat, he just gets a sudden, kind of arbitrary power boost, and he doesn't adapt to Neji's fighting style, he doesn't try to cover any of the weaknesses that Neji has been exploiting the entire fight, he just tries to hit him so hard that all of Neji's defensive options won't work anymore. That's so stupid. Like, let's look at Gaara versus Lee, for example. A much better fight. Everybody likes this fight, right? And there's a pretty similar dynamic going on here, the underdog versus the overpowered god. Towards the end of the fight, Lee does something very similar. He taps into a dangerous inner power in order to try and close the gap present between he and Gaara. And Lee hits Gaara a couple more times than just once. Kind of knocks Gaara around for a really...
So his point is he tapped into that power. It was an epically well displayed, right? And then there were some hefty consequences on Lee, and plus he lost. So that's his point here, because Gaara versus Lee did it well in his book, and Neji versus Naruto was kind of plot armor on Naruto's side. I mean, I guess I can see it, but at the same time, like I said, Neji could have felt that Naruto proved his point by getting up after him, closing all his chakra points. And by landing that blow, that was a complete defeat, because he proved his point in a sense that he can defy anything if he puts his mind to it. That's his ninja way. So that's kind of how I interpret it.
Like, it looks like he's hitting Gaara way harder than Naruto hit Neji here, but he still loses. Lee takes a much bigger risk, gains what at least should have been a much more substantial power-up, and not only loses the fight, but is almost crippled for life because of it. So, like, purely from an author's perspective, if this is what happened to Lee in a very similar situation, why does Naruto deserve to beat Neji here? He performed a lot worse in the fight. He doesn't put nearly as much on the line. Like, he's not willing to give himself up to Kurama like he has many times before this, and like he later would many times after this. He just gets a sudden power boost and wins for free. And this also kind of flies in the face of all of the thematic stuff that I was talking about earlier. The fact that Naruto is just able to call on the power of the Nine Tails, like that he has been carrying this enormous power inside of him from birth. Doesn't it kind of prove what Neji was saying about, you know, people being preordained for their role in life and destiny and all that? I mean, this would later become even more relevant with the whole Indra and Ashura reincarnation stuff. But it's not really fair to retroactively hold that stuff against this fight because of how much further down the line it would happen. But, you know, I mean, it is there. You could point to it and be like, yeah, Neji kind of had a point, dude. And so not only does all this kind of reinforce Neji's ideology, like the fact that Naruto is just able to tap into this power source that nobody else has access to. He's the only one with this power that he's had since he was born. That he doesn't improve throughout the fight. He doesn't change his approach to combat. All he does is ask for his own super special, exclusive cheater juice, and then he's just able to win for free. Like, this doesn't exhibit any of the themes that it's supposed to. The fight fails to deliver on it.
He keeps saying he wins for free. Nothing is free in life. Naruto had a gruesome experience thanks to having that power. And that was pure luck that Kurama even allowed him to use some of his chakra, right? So nothing comes without a hefty price, man, especially in this show. So you're saying he won for free? He didn't, bruh. Neji had it rough, but so did Naruto. Naruto lost both of his parents, never knew his parents, didn't know the truth behind everything, and he had, like, a beast that everybody hated him for. So nah, bro, he paid his price. He deserves, low-key, to have that power, because not only was he hated, he also saved everybody by taking on that power inside him. So that was the whole theme of the series. Also, to use retroactively everything that happened after, the ideology-wise, and proving Neji right with Indra, Asha, and all that, I understand that, but in this point in time, we're talking about the Neji versus Naruto fight, right? So when you first see this fight, you only know about this fight, so it looks amazing. The ideology is on point, and it's actually a good battle. Like the fact that some information come later, way later, that disprove Neji's theory doesn't make this battle any less important, because at that point in time when you first saw it, you didn't know anything that was about to happen. So it had a major impact. It was a dope, well situated, well versed battle. It was a dope concept, what they were talking about, and the way Naruto prevailed in the end was kind of cool. So to me, this battle doesn't even come close to being the worst battle in Naruto, like maybe, I don't know, 10-10 versus Ino, right? I enjoyed that battle, but let's be honest, while you were watching that battle, you were like, really? Right? Like, there were worse battles, man. Come on. Like, for example, we also have Choji versus the sound guy. I forgot that Gaara killed, right? I forgot his name. But that was also like 20-second battle. I mean, I guess he says the main battles, like Gaara versus Naruto, Neji versus, like, it's the worst battle of main battles. But I don't know, man. Like, even in Shippuden, I love my boy Orochimaru, but Naruto versus Orochimaru on the bridge, it wasn't all that. It was kind of... like it had some dope scenes, right? I mean, most of you would argue the most amazing moment in Shippuden happened there when Naruto almost killed Sakura and then Sai completely ignored her while she was flying into her death. You guys probably cheered on for that, but yeah, you catch my drift. Even though I love Orochimaru, that battle wasn't all that. Like, Naruto versus Neji was better. So, I mean, right? So I think he's being a bit harsh, but I see his point somewhat.
On its premise, the underdog overcomes the natural genius through tenacity and hard work. Naruto doesn't do that. Even if he had fucking summoned Gamabunta and crushed the whole stadium, as ridiculous as that would have been better than just tapping into Nine-Tails juices and punching Neji so hard that he wins. Yes, I know. He uses a shadow clone in a pretty clever way to catch Neji off guard. Like, I get that, but that's something that he's been able to do since the beginning of the series. It's not a sign of personal growth. Like every other major time Naruto overcame an obstacle, it was thanks to something new he learned, or some discovery he'd made. Like, beating Kabuto was thanks to his mastery of the Rasengan. Beating Kakazu, thanks to his mastery of the Rasen Shuriken, Pain, Sage Mode, Obito, Madara, Nine-Tails Chakra Mode, Six-Path Sage Mode, so on and so forth. But here, it's just so weird. This fight's an anomaly. It doesn't fall in line with any of the other stuff. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. As always, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.
Okay, but the fact that it's an anomaly doesn't fall in place like all the other battles makes it dope. Because I see this battle more of an ideology battle. He won that battle. He went over there to change Neji's ways, his mind, because he brutally beat up Hinata to a point where she had to go to a hospital. She was bedridden, right? And Naruto took her blood and made an oath that he was gonna beat him at his own game, which was the ideology part. And he finally made Neji tank. That was the whole premise of that fight. It wasn't the fight itself. All the other battles, he needed to whoop some behind and talk no jutsu some behind. Here, the talk no jutsu was the main thing, and he prevailed. That punch in the end was just symbolic because he already proved his point, right? By getting, like, opening his chakra pores and gaining more chakra after Neji pretty much, like, closed them all down, because he defied destiny in his own way by cheating, of course, with Kurama, but still, like, he went through some gruesome shit growing up because he had that fox. He saved everybody because he took on that fox inside of him. Right? Yo, nothing comes without a price. So I don't really agree, but like I said in the beginning, this is subjective. It was still a nice video to hear his thoughts and everything. It's actually not a bad idea. I should make a video of my worst battle in Naruto, how I deem, like, what I deem the worst battle in Naruto, or something like that, right? That would be cool. But yeah, I can definitely see him having fun creating these videos. My mods told me there's one more, like, he created the best battle in Naruto, so I need to see that as well. I might watch it right away, might watch in a couple of days, I don't know, you'll see when it comes out. So guys, that's all I have for you today. Tell me your thoughts down in the comments, like, share, subscribe, all that. And yeah, see you on the next one. Stay safe, love you, enjoy, and bye.